What's up, y'all? Riley here from Advocates of Easily, and I'm coming at you today with a video about battery safety. Battery safety is one of the most important aspects of vaping. I know a lot of people right now are kind of skeptical about the vaping industry because of the fact that some people are getting hurt with these things, with batteries venting and stuff. But it really isn't as bad as a lot of people might think. If you take care of your batteries are going to take care of you. Most of the people that are getting hurt with these things are doing it just because they're lazy. They're not paying attention to the device that they have. A lot of the times, the reason that they're blowing up is because the batteries in their pocket with loose change or other metal objects that are making the battery try to fire, and there's nowhere for the power to go, so it just kind of vents and blows up. Another thing that's going on is that they don't have the correct battery wraps, which is one of the most easy things to fix. The battery wrap is this piece right here. It's like the rubbery, plasticky thing that goes around the battery, and it stops any metal other than the connections of touching anything that would make it explode. So the first thing to look at on a battery wrap is just to make sure it's there. And if it's not, definitely put one on the battery before you use it. The second thing you're going to want to look at is if there's any of this that's missing. You can see any battery metal through the wrap. For instance, there's been scratches on some that I've seen, or if it's missing like a whole chunk of, that's definitely a time to put a new wrap on there. Wraps aren't too expensive, and you find them anywhere. Amazon, eBay sells them for cheap. You can get a lot of them for a really small price. And they're pretty easy to put on too. You just kind of slide them over and heat them up and make sure that when they shrink that you can still have the negative and the positive side showing metal. And if that's the case, then you've done it correctly. The next thing that I'm going to want to talk about is hybrid connections and 510 connections on tubes. A lot of times that's another thing that's getting people in trouble with the batteries. So the hybrid is this one right here. Hybrid means that you're just looking straight through the tube. There's no 510 connector. There's no pin in there. It's just you put a battery in and you put an RDA on top of it. So the first thing that you're going to look at is make sure that you put your battery in correctly. The positive side goes to the top, and the positive side of the battery is the button top side. Then you're just going to screw the bottom of the tube on. Then you're going to want to look at your RDA. Your RDA, there's multiple RDAs out there, as you all know. But the first thing, and pretty much the only important thing about the RDA, other than the build, is the firing pin right here. And as you can see, this one's kind of got a groove cut in it for a flathead screwdriver, and that's what you're going to want to see when you're using a hybrid cap mod. So just make sure that firing pin's out far enough to where the threads are, the firing pin comes out further than the threads. So when that's on there, if the threads were to touch that first, it's going to arc, and then that's when you might get an explosion. So if you take care of that, you should have no issues with it. Also, just make sure that your batteries are charged when you put them in there. The hybrid cap, or the 510 cap, is a little bit safer for you. It's got a firing pin here. Also, you're just going to want to make sure that the firing pin's out far enough. With any mod, really, just make sure that it touches before the threads, but they work pretty similar. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was so the last thing that I wanted to talk about today was builds and what ohms that you needed on each build, or on each kind of device. On a tube, probably wouldn't go below 0.2, 2.5. On a parallel box, probably wouldn't go below 0.3. On a series, I probably wouldn't go below a 0.1. The best way to check that is I wouldn't build on the device itself. I'd build on either a regulated device and then put it on an ohm reader. That's probably the way I would do it. Ohm readers are pretty easy to find. I've got one right here. You just screw it right in here, and it's going to tell you your ohms. That's a 5.1. I know it's kind of hard to see, but that would be safe to put on a tube. Or really, that'd be safe to put on anything. But other than that, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, just leave them in the comments box, and I'll be sure to hit back on there for you. But thanks for watching, guys.